Hi everybody, and welcome to TFT Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. This is me, Oberon, with my weekly show, The Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges. And it's kind of like the idea of doing a romantic or relationship-related reading for the week. So I do this with a series of questions. Yes, I've modified the reading. I've kind of gone back to the original element. And I give you a perspective on what's going on with your romantic or emotional life. They're not necessarily the same, although the cards always tell, don't they? So I use the Final Rose Tarot, which is a serious deck, yet a little bit of a novelty premise because it's based on a dating bachelorette type of game show known as the Final Rose. So all of the tarot have been kind of tooled towards that purpose. Still, it's quite serviceable, and it is a beautiful deck. And I've been getting good readings off of it, so I see no reason not to use it. So I see no reason to not use it, and in fact, it's really a really nice deck for these purposes. No one should knock it. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'm just shuffling the cards, and I do them divided by the elemental associations of the Zodiac. So I do for the air signs, fire signs, water signs, and earth signs. So of course that means that air signs are up first, and that's Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So we're going to check out the emotional life. And of course, the first card is, what emotional happiness will you find this week? And it's the Ten of Pentacles. And it's upright. Ten of Pentacles. I finally figured out where that glare comes from. It's actually from the camera itself. It has a little thing, so I have to kind of position it differently, and then I lose some of the room there. Anyway, the emotional happiness you'll find this week is about family and about foundation. The Ten of Rings is a strong reminder that legacy can be really important for you at this time, that maybe just feeling the connection of your family, people in your family, things like that. You know, we're drawing closer to the overall holiday season. For some of us, it starts with Halloween, of course. But Ten of Rings says you really are finding happiness in the things that are of the family. Okay, so then what is our next card? What emotional challenges or surprises will you face this week? And it's another pentacle. It's the Queen of Pentacles. And she's upright, and it says the single mom. So I don't know if it's really about that. I'm going to try to leave that there, despite the glare factor. That maybe works a little bit. Keeping it fresh, keeping things moving, keeping things creative, maybe in a relationship. Being the Queen of Pentacles means that there are things that change and that maybe flow, and that you are trying to stay productive and creative at keeping, you know, yourself involved in the relationship or keeping others involved in the relationship. Okay, card 3. What will concern your other relationships this week, whether they're romantic, family, platonic, co-workers, a mixture? This may be more likely just one in particular. And oddly enough, it's yet another pentacle card. They're called rings in Final Rose. It's the reversed Knight of Rings. And it says the late bloomer, but it's reversed. And I think that this is saying that maybe for some people, they feel like their relationships have become dormant or stagnant in certain ways. And maybe certain people, it's not so much about their relationship with you, but maybe your friends or your other relatives or other people that you have in your emotional life feel unfulfilled or feel like everything is kind of muddy right now. Things are turgid and slow. So to recap, it does sort of seem that you may find happiness in hunkering down, but you're always going to find the challenge of still trying to keep it fresh. And other people around you will feel that maybe they're not quite where you're at. They feel stagnant. Maybe you could help them out in a little way. I don't know. But now I'm going to read for the 3 air signs a word of the week using the Egipicios Kier, which I often use in the regular reading. The Egipicios Kier has the major and minor arcana sort of mixed together. Basically, after number 22, it continues to 78. And they all have a word or description of some sort or a concept that I can apply to a word of the week. So, for the air signs, and once again, well, I'll just do them in order. For the air sign Gemini, you have offering. Gemini, you may have to give something to get something. You may have to go along. You may have to go along to get along. It may be that either in romance or relationships of any sort, you're going to have to kind of show them the money. That this may be a time where maybe people are just needing more from you, and you have to make appropriate offering. Now, Libra, your card of the week, your word of the week is hostility. Libra, you may find that in relationships there's something going on right now. I don't know if it alludes to the basic reading for air signs, but it feels like maybe there are some hostilities right now in some of your relationships or one in particular. And I don't know why, but I sort of sense that maybe it's a primary relationship. So this may be something for you to think about. And then finally, Aquarius. And Aquarius, you have major arcana 2, the priestess. So Aquarius, your best word this week is to play it mysterioso. Maybe to hold the cards tight to your vest. It may be that your intuition will be serving you well, Aquarius, in terms of figuring out, certain things perhaps. All right, so that was it for the air signs. And now I go on to fire signs. And fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. What's going on in your relationships or your emotional life? Will you flame out? Yes, I know, that's kind of like a banshee joke. But let's see what indeed is cooking in your romance or other relationship life. Card 1. What emotional happiness will you feel this week? All right, it's the 5 of Pentacles reversed. And the emotional happiness comes from the fact that maybe you finally feel somebody has noticed you, somebody realizes you have maybe you have issues, maybe you have problems, but maybe somebody finally you find where you need to go for some sort of emotional support, that if you feel things have been draining or things have been really worrisome for you, this may be the week where things click and maybe you find ways to be recognized or to find the help you are looking for, fire signs. Okay, second card. What emotional challenges or surprises will you face this week? And we have the reversed Four of Pentacles, Four of Rings. What is it with all these pentacles in both of these readings? So the reverse Four of Pentacles, the emotional surprise or challenge, you're going to have to give up some of what you've been holding back on, fire signs. Emotionally speaking, you maybe have not been really keeping up your end of the bargain in terms of your relationships. You have to either reach out more to people that you miss or that miss you or that have been sort of hinting or have tried to, get with you, but you've been avoiding them. And so I think the challenge is learning where to find your emotional resonance point. Maybe you've been bothered because you felt, alone in some ways, or that no one was noticing you, but people actually have been hoping for you to give back to them because they in turn would give to you. Okay, then third card. What will concern the romantic relationships most this week, or also your family relationships, your co-workers, your platonic friends, your neighbors, things like that? And I wonder if I shuffled well. There's another pentacle here, the King of Rings, and it's reversed. And I guess there's a feeling here that maybe people feel they can't really manage some of the physical aspects of their life. This isn't so much, well, I guess where it concerns their emotional relationships, their various relationships. So it could be as simple as finding the way to have time to have a date with somebody, or finding a way to have time to take the kids to a movie or to a restaurant or to a park, or to meet your parents at similar places, to do things with them, or to meet your adult children, if that's what it means, or finding the time to have co-workers, parties with them, people like that. This is all about the management aspect of that as it relates to your friendly relationships. This is saying you really need to make time for each other. And I think it works two ways. I think this is also what concerns them too, is that they need to figure out where that intersection part is. So that's pretty plain, I think. I think we feel that somehow we're finally getting understood again, or finally making a breakthrough with maybe feeling alone. We will have to find a way to make sure we're giving and receiving to everybody. It may be hard for us to do some of that right now. And other people feel like they're not quite sure how to get into your inner circle, or how you can get into theirs. It's a management thing, maybe. It's probably more likely time is involved. It's going to get pretty busy with the holiday season, and I know a lot of people, once again, really need to connect on all of that. Okay, so we're going back to the Kier Egipicios for our fire signs. And our first card is for Aries, and it's Resurrection. And that's number 20. So that's like Judgment. And so Aries, maybe they need to think about an epiphany they should be having, where maybe they really, versus all of this, reevaluate where they're at with various relationships, and maybe turn over a new leaf with some of their relationships, and be a little bit more demonstrative or something. So then Leo has alliance. And Leo for alliance says, you will be working harder on trying to figure out maybe if you can create better partnerships with some of these people, figure out ways to manage that time, to have the equal exchange. You're going to be working specifically on some of that growth. It's not exactly the same here. Aries maybe is more metaphysical about how they're arriving to that conclusion. And then Sagittarius, apprenticeship. Sagittarius, maybe you're going to feel like you need to put yourself into a learning mode here. Maybe you feel you need to educate yourself, or you need to work with others in the process from maybe the ground up, rebuilding what these connections are, educating yourself to where nuances have changed or where things have downright changed in the last time period. So it's all stuff like that. Very similar, but a little different each. All right, so that was the fire signs. And so now we're on to the water signs. And water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. As emotional-based watery signs, you can have a pretty interesting reading. So let's see what is happening. And your first card is, what is the emotional happiness you will find this week? And it's the King of Flutes. That's the King of Cups. Oh, thank goodness it's not another pentacle. But the King of Flutes, it says the single dad. This is a highly charismatic kind of idea here about this card. And so I'm wondering if the emotional happiness you find is really about how you connect water signs with people. Maybe this is your element right now for some of you, to be moving into the season where there's a lot more connectivity going on. There's Halloween and Thanksgiving and the Christmas holidays and New Year's holidays. All those kind of things maybe are going, and I know this is just for the week, but it's just going to start stimulating the idea of really feeling happy about how you fit in with a lot of people, seeing yourself as charismatic and caring, and moving things ahead. So then the next card, the second card, is what are the emotional challenges or surprises that you face this week? And we're back to Pentacles with the Seven of Rings. It says, for the right reason. Seven of Pentacles. Well, I think despite what the first card was saying, what you do feel is that emotionally, maybe you still want to hunker down a little bit. Maybe you're interested in still working on self a little bit. And so some of that is challenging because you also know that you need to re-engage and maybe shine the light a little bit. So that's what the challenge is giving up some of your comfort zone. And maybe it's not about staying at home. Maybe it's just about things related to the idea of being more forthcoming. But you're needing to change, come out of your comfort zone a little bit and go to that challenge. And then finally, the third card, what will concern your other relationships this week? And it may be back towards you, but it could also just be in general. So these are friends, platonic friends or otherwise, family relationships, romantic relationships, co-workers, just about anybody else that you could think of. And we get the Hermit, number 9. And it says ITM, in the moment. So I think some of the people around you, maybe they they're also into their comfort zone. And maybe part of that too is based on the idea that they're also learning or trying to engage in certain ways, but maybe they're more solitary ways. So it may be water signs that you will find it is a challenge, to leave your comfort zone, but it may be more of a challenge to engage with people who are also really in their own moment right now. And maybe it's just an epiphany about life in general or about the season to come. So be a good single dad. Just be kind of honest with yourself and just sort of be the good person you are normally and engage as you can. So now we'll go on to the specific water signs and give a word for the week. And that first sign is Cancer. Cancer, the moon children. Confusion. Say it's not true, Cancer, but confusion is hitting you. It's right near the end of the whole run of this arcana. It could be saying that from the emotional perspectives, you're not exactly sure what all of this is about, because of course it seems like it's a push-pull-me kind of thing here, and you may feel like you're challenging yourself, so why aren't others challenging you? And maybe you are confused about where it really works out. So then Scorpio, patrimony. That word I never quite understand. But I think patrimony says that maybe some of the Scorpios will be looking at this process and feeling like they need to be in charge of it. And so it may be that you will arise to the challenge, but also too, you're going to have to work with what other people feel is they're sort of being abstract right now in the moment. So it will be interesting. Be gentle, Scorpio. We know what you should be like. And then finally, for Pisces, it's meditation. Meditation. Pisces maybe would do best by really going with the meme, the in the moment meme, and maybe just sort of being available, but also to really working on those inner chops, really figuring out exactly what it means to be accessible, but not too forthcoming. It's a typical Pisces kind of idea in a way. All right, so now we're going to move on to the earth signs. And earth signs, glad you waited. Earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. I'm not sure why I hesitated there. I have a lot of Capricorn in my own chart. So, are you going to be steadfast and rock firm, solid in the emotional department? Or will some seismic wave lift or crush or move you? First card. What emotional happiness will the earth signs find this week? And it's the world called the fans in this deck, because remember it is about a reality show. Number 21, Major Arcana 21 traditionally. So you have it all, earth signs. You know that you're lucking out big time here. You feel like you just seem to have achieved a level of perfection that you really were kind of looking for or hoping for. So I hope you'll be glad. It really feels like, admiration is just the beginning of it, because it really is about, like maybe the game suggests here, winning the game. So from a terms of feeling like emotionally you have reached a real zenith. There's not much more I can say about that. So earth signs, what are the emotional challenges or surprises that you still may face this week? And it's the Queen of Wands, and she's called the Beauty Queen in this deck. And the Queen of Wands as emotional challenge says that maybe You are feeling like you want to be more attractive. It's a combination of being more magnetic and more charismatic, but you're also looking at aspects of physical beauty or of the allure or illusion of being attractive. And this applies even if you aren't necessarily single. So it could be saying you're feeling there's a challenge where you need to be slightly more flirtatious or slightly more assertive about emotional issues. Or maybe it's a surprise just that you will be feeling a little flirtatious, especially if you are single. Maybe you're feeling like, the upcoming Halloween season provides opportunities to set out your trap. I didn't mean to say that, did I? So then finally, the third card, what will concern all those relationships in your life? Family, children, parents, romantic, polyamorous romantic, friends, co-workers. And it's back to the rings again. It's the Two of Pentacles, the Two of Rings, reversed. And I think a lot of people around you are finding their challenges in their own emotional or romantic lives, and that you might feel you have to understand if people aren't as accessible to you, or if people are actually leaning on you more, or people are just actually expecting you to agree with them or hold up their opinion. They're feeling like they're very challenged, and it's very hard for them to balance everything or to shoulder their burdens in a way. So now we're going to move to the Earth signs word of the week. Okay, so now we're going to move to the word of the week. And for the Earth sign Taurus, it's examination. And examination means, from an emotional point of view, you're probably looking at yourself, but you're also probably examining your relationship, if any, or you're examining things about whether you want a relationship or why you're not getting the relationship you want, things like that. So emotionally, you're really being very introspective, Earth signs, very introspective. I mean, you're literally like weighing yourself against others too. I mean, you may be benchmarking, wondering why, your friend seems to have more luck romantically, or why somebody else's marriage or relationship is happier than yours. So then for the Virgo has the passion, and I think Virgo's been here before. Virgo, your key word here is passion. So I think this is saying really, you're going to really pour your heart or more into something this week that emotionally fulfills all the dots for you. It could just be a cooking class. It could just be getting, groomed, going and getting a pedicure or manicure. It could be all kinds of things beyond the obvious relationships. So pursue your passion, whatever that is. Maybe this is really, the tickets for somebody's reunion, tour came through, and you're going to be going to a big party weekend. So check it out. All right. So then finally, the Capricorn, what is the word of the week? And the word of the week, Capricorn, is you're going to be stoic. You're going to be mostly there to give advice and possibly to receive advice. But I think this is saying mostly Capricorn really has a call towards maybe being really that true bedrock, that true foundation for other people. And maybe this is more about yourself, that maybe you're going to really look, what's going on here, these burdens that people around you feel they have, and the idea that although there is a perfection you feel, a success you feel, you are really looking towards, challenging yourself in certain ways on that emotional level. And that's a whole spectrum of things based upon where you're at in your own relationships, as well as what your general idea about relationships are. So maybe you are the one who really is looking for some advice. And so that's it for the emotional exchanges for this week. And it is Friday, the 7th, so tomorrow is the happy hour, October 8th. It will be a pretty concise one because I'm going off to work right after that or so. And of course, on Sunday, watch the Banshees. Material matters. Get the exchange work on what's going on financially, in your life, and what you can do to tool your success and to be more positive-minded about that success. And then later on, of course, is our Sunday afternoon live stream, and we hope to see you there, and we appreciate you as always. Thanks for all your support. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.